sort of happens every few years, I guess. Now, yeah, well, this was no different, and the chap, which of course is a winter job, and as you can see by the hills, it's probably much better in timber than tinches. In less than 2 days, on soil that was already absolutely sodden. So all the poor old soil could do was just fall away like a little dragon. So a lot of work's going on in here, and there's a massive predator control program going on, because out, believe me, out there are 2,500 other traps that are to get the, actually feral cats are the worst of them. They weren't too sure of what food was here, so they bought rats. Not that I would like to be eating rats particularly. Anyway, they were very damaging to particularly the kiwis and the kiwi chicks and eggs. Bit of wisdom taught out stoats and weasels. Parrots. Well, they're pretty smart creatures. They found that there are other creatures much easier to catch than rabbits. So that had an even more devastating effect on the... Now this course is really a course for masochists, because every fairway is flanked by a huge, great big gully. See people out there today, so they're obviously incredibly keen. But I'm sure if you're staying in the lodges as a guest, I'm sure there'd be a different tariff, you might say. Now you'll be pleased to know we're just engaging four-wheel drive. And now we're going to get a taste of what the road was like all the way. Once upon a time. And the bulls they use are also Angus, but plus Herefords, because it never really gets terribly cold in the winter. Like, there really aren't frosts out here, so if there's enough moisture, the grass never stops growing throughout the winter, which means the rams can go out early, which they're out at the moment. They've been out for over a month. The lambs are born early, and so that means that the finished lambs are around the world on people's dinner plates before Christmas, and that's really a big bonus. So you can see a lot more of this erosion that I was talking of. It was one of those weather events that farmers would never want to go through in their careers ever again. So it's always nice at least to see where your ship is, and to see if it's still there, ready to pick you up. Now this is kind of an interesting little story, goes with this corner here. The then owner wanted to borrow more money from the bank, and the manager was having no part of it. So the owner brought him up around the farm, and he parked him up on that corner and just moved him ever so much closer to the edge when they got out. So wouldn't you know it, the bank manager gave the farmer as much money as he wanted. I think he quite liked living. I don't know how much. They have to put their heads down to graze. They just walk along the sides of the tracks and push their heads sideways, and it's like the grass is at table level for them. the interesting thing to me is the fact that the young ones don't have the benefit of a cliff face, or at least a ledge, to make their first takeoff from. Yeah, you might have to open your windows. So what they'll have to do is, I'll just go forward a wee bit. What they'll have to do is wait till a really big easterly wind gets up and pours up this hill, creating massive updrafts. So oh yeah, and the mist down to our right. We'll see that from up above again. But yeah, the older birds take off and go up to Northland. Now as we come up the hill, have your cameras ready, everybody. Have your cameras ready, because there's going to be a real wow moment. Let's see this young one up here flexing his wings. I don't think he's going to take off, but have your cameras. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Now you can see through the murky windows. How's about that, eh? Yep. Yeah, you can. We'll just do a bit of a circuit. When the young ones come back, they're on the outside of the colony, and they go and get seaweed, the biggest piece of seaweed they can find. And whack some young lady around the head and neck
Сказал водитель маршрутки и добавил газа.
in an effort, they're not fully mature till they're 5 anyway. Now you can just see in the murk. Gosh, I haven't seen it like this before. But I was walking down to that colony. hopeful about things. Airplanes as well. And I'm not much into churches, but that one is absolutely superb because it's sort of made you get caught if you go to sleep in a service because everybody can right here, but I'm going to take you left. And so, oh, actually, maybe, well, back down there opposite that extra comes there quite often, and now they have many big here, and it's got, well, it's not unfilled now, but it's got